Hi students, I am Dr. Bhavana. In this lecture we are going to deal about excretion. So before we have dealt with digestion and absorption. What happens in digestion and absorption of food? In digestion and absorption, the main nutrients are digested and absorbed. They help in growth and development of our body. But the unwanted waste products which are formed in our body, they should be excreted by some procedure. This process of elimination of unwanted or undigested food substances is by the process of excretion. Excretion usually takes place in the human beings as well as mammals by kidneys. Kidneys play a very important role. Normally, what are the substances which are excreted are ammonia, urea as well as uric acid. Mainly ammonia, it is excreted by like fishes, amphibians, all these excrete ammonia, whereas urea, it is excreted by most mammals. Mammals means human beings also come under mammals only. So these excrete urea, whereas uric acid, it is excreted by birds as well as reptiles. So there are three types mainly of excretory products, that are ammonia, urea as well as uric acid. Fishes as well as amphibians, they excrete ammonia, whereas mammals, they excrete urea. Uric acid is by birds as well as reptiles. So these three are the main excretory products. There are also many other excretory products like sodium, potassium, all of these also are excretory products only. So mainly ammonia, it is excreted by fishes as well as amphibians. So they are called as ammonotelic animals. Ammonotelic, because whatever which excrete ammonia are called as ammonotelic animals. Whereas urea, they are called as ureotelic animals, whereas uric acid, uricotelic. Anything suffix is telic, like that it will come. So ammonotelic as well as ureotelic as well as uricotelic. So ammonia mainly, it about water only. It excretes, means it requires more water for excretion. So that's why ammonia is not excreted by our birds as well as these, because they can't give so much of water. So this ammonia, it's by water, mainly it requires so much water, and it is highly soluble also. Highly soluble, and it requires more water. See, fishes, amphibians, they live in water only. They require more of water. So for them, this ammonia is only beneficial for them. Whereas mammals, they require only less amount of water, minimal amount of water, less water. Because whatever water we consume, everything it will not be excreted. No, some will be useful for our body also. So only less water. Whereas uric acid, they are excreted in the form of pellets, small pellets you say. They require no water only, no need of water for them. So these are the main which are excreted by ammonia, urea, uric acid. These are the main excretory products, as well as some sodium as well as potassium also. So to brief it, ammonia is excreted by, in NEET also they will ask what is excreted by these fishes as well as amphibians. Then you can say ammonia is excreted. Then mammals, they are urea, whereas birds as well as reptiles, they excrete uric acid. which will require more water is ammonia will require more of water. Important NEET question. And which is highly toxic also they'll ask. Ammonia is highly toxic. Ammonia is highly toxic to this. And they will ask other question also. Ammonia is also excreted by mammals also, but it is converted into urea in the liver. Mainly they'll ask this question. See, urea it will reach the kidneys, but first ammonia is also formed in mammals, but that is through it is this ammonia is converted into urea in the liver. Okay, so that is mainly important here. In mammals, ammonia is converted into urea, that is in the liver, as well as from the urea this is excreted. It is through kidneys. Kidneys play a very important role here. Afterwards, later we are going to deal with kidney. Next, uric acid is by birds as well as reptiles. They are excreted in the form of small pellets or paste type thing, you can say. So here no water is used. This is highly toxic, highly soluble, as well as more of water is required for ammonia. Urea less water, uric acid no water only. So this is main introduction about, as well as some organisms we will discuss first. Suppose Platyhelminthes. Next we are going to deal with in that animal kingdom. In that clearly I will explain you, but now it is related to this excretory system. So I am explaining you. See, Platyhelminthes. Platyhelminthes is one subphylum. In that Platyhelminthes, flame cells play an important role in excretion. Like how kidneys for us, they play an important role in excretion. Like that, for Platyhelminthes, flame cells play a very important role. Whereas next when it comes to earthworm, for earthworm, the main excretory organs are nephridia. When I deal with earthworm, I will tell you there are three types of nephridia again. Septal, pharyngeal, integumentary nephridia, like this. But for now you remember, for earthworm, nephridia plays a very important role in excretion. Whereas for Platyhelminthes, flame cells. While as for cockroach, Malpighian tubules. Again we will deal with this also, cockroach, in detail. But for now you remember Malpighian tubules play a very important role. Cockroach, Malpighian tubules, earthworm, nephridia, Platyhelminthes, flame cells play a very important role in excretion. So these are the three main which you should remember, because they will ask in NEET only, mainly. Earthworm, for earthworm excretory product is, means excretory organs are they will ask. Like, then you should say nephridia, cockroach, Malpighian tubules, Platyhelminthes, flame cells. Okay, so this is about the brief introduction of the of excretion. Next we are going to deal exclusively with human excretory system. Human excretory system. So in human excretory system, mainly the kidneys play a very important role. See, these are the kidneys which play a very important role. They are reddish brown structures. They are, which color is, they are reddish brown colored structures, and they are about 10 to 12 centimeter in length, as well as 5 to 6 centimeters in width. Thickness also, it is about 2 to 3 centimeters in thickness. See, these numericals are important. You all imagine, because you have recently passed the 10th and next you are going to NEET exam, you all will think that kidneys they will be, because so much of excretion as well as everything, all the undigested food are passed through kidneys. You will imagine kidneys are very huge structures. But kidneys, they are only small structures, that is they are about only 10 to 12 centimeters in length, 10 to 12, 5 to 6 in width, whereas in thickness about 2 to 3 centimeters. These numericals are very important in NEET because they'll ask about this. And they are reddish brown structures. They are bean shaped structures. See, they are resemble a bean. Beans they resemble. So they are bean shaped structures. And from these kidneys there is a notch here called as hilum. We say hilum. Through this hilum only the renal artery as well as renal veins, nerves, everything will pass through this only, as well as ureter also will pass. So this is a pair of ureter. 2 kidneys will be there and as well as 2 ureters will be there. But here there is only one urinary bladder, is only one urinary bladder, as well as this urinary bladder it is connected to urethra. Everything urinary bladder is only one urinary bladder you have, one urethra you have, whereas ureters are 2, that is one pair, as well as kidneys also only one pair you have, 2 kidneys you have. If there is if one kidney is damaged also, you can leave with other kidney also. Only if one kidney there is some problem, then you can remove one kidney, as well as you can go. If kidneys are not functioning also, you can go through dialysis. That all in the next phase I will explain you. But first remember mainly about about this human excretory system I am dealing now. So first, this human excretory system mainly consists of 2 kidneys. They are reddish brown in color. They are about 10 to 12 centimeters in length, 5 to 6 centimeters in width, as well as 2 to 3 centimeters in thickness. They are reddish brown in color. They are bean shaped structures. One pair of ureter will pass and they will end up in urinary bladder. This urinary bladder, it stores the urine and it will help in passage through this urethra. So only one urethra is present. So this is about that. In detail we will deal about kidney first. See, I told you there is a notch shaped structure. This is called as hilum. Through this small opening pore only, numerous nerves, vessels as well as arteries, everything will pass through this only. And it is concave as well as convex in shape. Convex as well as concave. One side it is convex as well as one side it is concave. Now we are going to deal in detail about one kidney. So kidney mainly it is covered outside by a renal capsule. It is covered by renal capsule. See, renal capsule. For everything there will be a covering. For everything there should be a covering. For lung there is outside pleural membrane. For heart also pericardium is present, like that. For this kidney also there is outside layer called as renal capsule, and inside it is divided into outer cortex as well as inner medulla. This medulla is projected through medullary pyramids. Numerous medullary pyramids are present here. This outside layer, this fully is cortex only, whereas this medulla, it is conical shaped structure. Means these all are medullary, they appear as pyramid shaped structures. So they are called as medullary pyramids. By name only we can understand medullary pyramids. These all are medullary pyramids and they open into every medullary pyramid. It opens into calyces. You should know all this because in this they'll ask numerous questions in excretory system. They'll ask mainly about this only. They open into calyces, okay? So these calyces, everything, they are bulged shaped structures. These calyces are bulged shaped structures and these open into renal pelvis. Renal pelvis. This renal pelvis is connected to this hilum, through which this is connected to hilum. Hilum, I already told you there is one opening. So that opening is known as hilum. Through this hilum only numerous nerves as well as renal artery as well as renal vein. Renal artery and renal vein means nothing but renal artery, it helps in transportation of blood. Arteries and veins, we know, they helps in to the transport of the blood. Artery, vein from the kidney to the other parts. So renal artery as well as vein. These all open into calyces and this calyce in turn open into renal pelvis. So this is about the kidney. Mainly in between these renal pyramids there is columns. You found spaces now here because these all are not joined together. So these spaces are called as columns of Bertini. Columns of Bertini. Columns of Bertini. So this is the main function, main structure of a kidney. First, what I have told you till now. See, the kidney, it is a bean shaped structure and it is reddish brown in color. It is outside covered by a layer called as renal capsule. Outside it is covered by cortex. Inner it is medulla. These medulla has numerous medullary pyramids. They appear in pyramids like structures. So these are medullary pyramids. These medullary pyramids, they end in structures called as calyces. These are bulged out projections that originate from renal pelvis. These all calyces, they end in renal pelvis. This renal pelvis is connected to hilum. Hilum is opening of the kidney through which renal artery, renal veins as well as nerves, everything will pass through this. And the important NEET question which is asked is, what are the spaces that, these all they won't ask, only about cortex which is outside, which is inside they'll ask. So outer is cortex, inner is medulla they'll ask. As well as mainly they'll ask about what are the spaces that are present in the medullary, between the medullary pyramids. Those spaces are known as columns of Bertini. Like this, if they ask, you all can easily answer between the kidneys, but they won't ask like that. They'll ask in NEET like columns of Bertini, they are associated with which gland? They'll ask liver, lung, kidney, then something, brain they'll ask. So columns of Bertini, you should then suddenly you should recognize that columns of Bertini, they are associated with kidneys. That is, it is these spaces between the medullary pyramids are known as columns of Bertini. So next, this kidney has numerous nephrons. Nephrons are structural and functional units of kidneys. Nephrons, like for brain, what are the structural and functional units for central nervous system? Nervous system is neurons. These are nephrons. These are the structural and functional units of kidneys. Nephrons are, and how many nephrons are present? There will be 1 million nephrons, means numerous nephrons are present. 1 million nephrons are present. About 1 million. So this is about the structure of the kidney. Now we will deal about each nephron. So nephron, these are the structural and functional units of the kidney. Nephrons, there are about 1 million nephrons are present. So this nephron is mainly associated with, means it has two parts mainly. It has glomerulus as well as renal tubule. Glomerulus as well as renal tubule. Nephron is divided mainly into glomerulus as well as renal tubule. So first we are going to deal with glomerulus. So this glomerulus, it consists of numerous capillaries. Numerous capillaries are present in this glomerulus. This glomerulus has two arterioles. That is, one is efferent arteriole, other is efferent arteriole. The one which comes out is efferent arteriole, efferent. So glomerulus, it has first numerous capillaries will be present. So, and it has mainly two arterioles. One is efferent arteriole, one is efferent arteriole. Efferent arteriole means what? These are efferent arteriole, it collects the waste substances from any other organs and they transport to the kidney, this efferent arteriole. Whereas efferent, it transports to again mainly to kidney. First from the organs this will pass into the kidney. This from the kidney it will pass into the urinary bladder or next whatever comes, that this efferent arteriole A and E. These two arterioles play a very important role in this glomerulus. Next there is renal tubule which is present. So renal tubule, it is mainly consists of first Bowman's capsule. Bowman's capsule. Bowman's capsule. What is this Bowman's capsule? This capsule, it is present outside the glomerulus. Glomerulus means what? It contains numerous capillaries, efferent as well as efferent arterioles. Outside this, it is a cup-shaped structure. Important neat question. Bowman's capsule is a cup-shaped structure. Cup-shaped. It appears like a cup. Cup-shaped structure, and this is known as Bowman's capsule. Bowman's capsule, it surrounds the glomerulus. Important neat question. What is the role of this Bowman's capsule? It surrounds the glomerulus. So this Bowman's capsule surrounds the glomerulus, and from here there will be this Bowman's capsule. It will continue as PCT. PCT, that is proximal convoluted tubule. Again I will draw the picture and I will explain you. First about PCT again I will tell you. See, first I will explain you glomerulus as well as Bowman's capsule both contribute to renal corpuscle. Renal corpuscle or Malpighian body. Malpighian body. This is also very important. They'll ask frequently, NEET this question only they'll ask. What is Malpighian body or renal capsule, and it is contributed by what two structures? It is contributed by glomerulus along with the Bowman's capsule. This full is called as Malpighian body or renal corpuscle. So this is about the glomerulus. Renal tubule, only the first part we have dealt is about Bowman's capsule. Next I will show it in a picture about this. So this is glomerulus. This is Bowman's capsule. This is efferent arteriole, efferent. So this Bowman's capsule also, see, it is through PCT. PCT is, it extends as PCT, means proximal convoluted tubule. This is highly coiled structures. Highly coiled structure is PCT. This PCT will end in, again there is a hair loop bend. Hair loop bend means what we say, that as Henle's loop. Henle's loop, see. Henle's loop. This is Henle's loop. Henle's loop consists of two limbs. One is descending limb, as well as other is ascending limb. Ascending limb. So this again Henle's loop, it will end as again highly coiled structure known as DCT. This is PCT, that is proximal convoluted tubule. This is DCT, that is distal convoluted tubule. This distal convoluted tubule again ends in a straight structure that is called as collecting duct. Collecting duct. This is not coiled structure, it is a straight structure. Whereas PCT as well as DCT, these both are coiled structures. This is Bowman's capsule, I told you. This is efferent arteriole. This is efferent. This is glomerulus. So, this efferent arteriole, it again will continue and it will surround all these loops also. See, that's why I am drawing with other things. See, it will surround like anything. It will surround all these structures again. Why it will surround you, I will tell you. See, this efferent again continues, see, and it will surround all these structures. So this will surround all the structures, this efferent, because why it will surround these, here through this efferent arteriole, with that is different and this is different. See, first one what I have told you mainly about is, it has two parts. First, glomerulus as well as renal tubule. This is a part of glomerulus. Efferent arteriole is a part of glomerulus. It is a part of glomerulus. So this will surround all these structures. And the structure that is parallel to the Henle's loop, this is called as vasa recta. This is called as vasa recta. About this vasa recta, we will deal in the mechanism of concentration of the filtrate. There you will understand this vasa recta importance. This will also surround like this structure also. Next, when we come to renal tubule, here in the renal tubule, there arises four structures. That is, this is Bowman's capsule. First one is Bowman's capsule. From there arises a highly coiled structure called as proximal convoluted tubule, that is PCT. Next, this PCT ends in a hairpin bend loop. What is this hairpin bend loop called as? Means that is U-shaped structure. How your hairpin resembles? Suppose if you take a pin, it will resemble U-shaped structure. So this is also U-shaped structure. It has bends. That's why it is called as hairpin. This is known as loop of Henle or Henle's loop also we can say. Loop of Henle. It has again two limbs. The one which is coming down is called as descending limb. The one which is going up is called as ascending limb. So this ascending limb, again it enters into distal convoluted tubule. This is also highly coiled structure. This will again lead into a straight structure called as collecting duct. This full is what? It is a part of nephron. Nephron. We are first about neuron also we have dealt there. For neuron also we have one axon, dendrite, everything. Like that for nephron also there are two main parts. That is, first part is glomerulus, I have told you. Only this part constitutes the glomerulus. Whereas from Bowman's capsule, PCT, Henle's loop, descending distal convoluted tubule, collecting duct, everything constitutes the renal tubule. Renal tubule, this glomerulus along with this Bowman's capsule is called as Malpighian body. And from the efferent arteriole, this will surround all the structures known as Henle's loop. It will surround DCT, PCT, everything this efferent arteriole surrounds. And the structure, the efferent arteriole, which is parallel to the Henle's loop, this is called as vasa recta. That is called as vasa recta. What is about vasa recta? In the next we will deal about mechanisms. In that you will know the importance of vasa recta mainly. So this is about mainly nephron. So first mainly this Bowman's capsule as well as PCT as well as DCT, everything will lie in cortex. Cortex. I already told you. See, kidney, it has numerous nephrons, I told you, no? And it has outer cortex, inner medulla, I told you. This full will come under, that is glomerulus, PCT as well as DCT. These three parts will come under cortex. Whereas this Henle's loop or loop of Henle, this will come under medulla. One will come under cortex while as other will come under medulla. I'll tell you clearly. That is, I already have shown you in picture, so now I am telling you for easily how you can remember. That is PCT, proximal convoluted tubule, distal convoluted tubule, as well as Malpighian body. Malpighian body is by both, that is glomerulus as well as Bowman's capsule. These full will lie in cortex only. Whereas Henle's loop will lie in medulla. So they lie in cortex, one will lie in medulla. See, cortical nephrons, there are mainly two types of nephrons. Two types. That is, one is cortical nephrons, other is juxtamedullary nephrons. In cortical nephrons, what will happen? The loop of Henle is only slightly extended into medulla. Slightly extended into medulla. About 20% of the neurons are cortical nephrons. Majority of the neurons are juxtamedullary nephrons only. While here they extend deep into the medulla. Means full loop of Henle will be into the medulla only, and it will be very long and thin also. Whereas here it will be very short. Loop of Henle will be very short like this. See, I will show you. See, very short it will be. Whereas here it will be very long and thin in juxtamedullary nephrons. So this is mainly about the PCT, DCT as well as Malpighian tubules. First thing is in PCT, DCT as well as Malpighian tubules, there is outer cortex as well as inner medulla will be there. In outer cortex, PCT, DCT as well as Malpighian tubules, they contribute for the cortex, whereas Henle's loop, it is present in the medulla. There are mainly two types of nephrons that are present, that is cortical nephrons as well as juxtamedullary nephrons. In cortical nephrons, the loop of Henle is very short and it is extended very lightly into the medulla. Whereas in juxtamedullary, it extends deep into the medulla. So this is about the different structures of PCT, DCT, Malpighian tubules, Henle's loop and all this. So mainly today what we have discussed is what are the types of excretory products that are available. That means you have ammonia, urea as well as uric acid. Mainly ammonia is highly toxic but highly soluble also. It is ammonia only. Everything in any question if they ask, mostly it is ammonia only, because they'll ask highly toxic or highly soluble or more amount of water is needed. Everything is ammonia only. Simply you have to remember for urea, only in our humans as well as mammals, the excretory product is urea. Which is minimum loss of water, means you should say uric acid is contributing to minimum loss of water. Whereas next we have dealt about main and excretory organs. In earthworm, nephridia are the excretory organs. Whereas in cockroach, Malpighian tubules play a very important role. Whereas in Platyhelminthes, protonephridia, or we can say flame cells also. These three are very important in the point of meat, because when we go to earthworm or cockroach also, they'll ask the similar questions only. What is the excretory organ of the cockroach? Means you should say Malpighian tubules. Like that, they'll ask all the excretory organs also. Because mostly we are dealing with humans only. Here in this topic, I have dealt more about humans. Next, when we go to animals, there more animals are only important, like excretory organs as well as nervous system. That is slightly more complicated, but I'll make it very easy for you. Next, we have dealt with about what are the structural and functional units. Those are nephrons are the structural and functional units of a kidney. We have dealt about kidney in detail. It has outer cortex, medulla, everything is present for that. It has medullary pyramids and through hilum, nerves as well as these will enter and go out. Like this I have told you. Mainly the main thing which I asked you to remember is columns of Bertini. These columns of Bertini, they are the spaces that are present in between the medullary pyramids. There are spaces that are present. Those are called as columns of Bertini. Next we have dealt about glomerulus as well as see here mainly they'll ask only two questions. First is about columns of Bertini. Next outer cortex, inner medulla, I already told you. Next about nephron only they will ask. First, which is highly coiled structure they will ask. First is PCT is highly coiled structure, then DCT is highly coiled structure. Then Malpighian tubule is Malpighian body or renal corpuscle also we can say. It is contributed by glomerulus as well as Bowman's capsule. So the Henle's loop, about Henle's loop we have dealt. PCT structures, DCT, collecting duct, Henle's loop, everything in an order. First is PCT, next Henle's loop, next is DCT. Finally it will end in structure called as collecting duct. That we have discussed, and in detail we will do later about vasa recta. Vasa recta means what? The efferent arteriole, which passes in parallel to the Henle's loop is called as vasa recta. About Vasaratta we will deal in detail. Next, there are two types of nephrons that are present mainly. This is also important again. Cortical nephrons, juxtamedullary nephrons. In cortical nephrons, only small amount is extended into medulla. What is that small amount means? Henle's loop. Very short Henle's loop will be present. Very little is extended into medulla. Whereas juxtamedullary, so much deep it is extended. So this is about this. Next, so there are juxtamedullary means it is very thin as well as long. So this is about today human excretory system, about kidneys as well as its nephrons and their structures. Tomorrow we will deal with the mechanisms and all in the next lecture. What is the mechanism and what are the disorders that are associated with the excretory system and all we will deal in next lectures class. This is first introduction I have given here. So today you go and solve the bits actually that is related to this so that you can easily understand. If you listen to this class only, you can answer majority of the questions. That's why I am repeating so many times for you. You can go and directly solve the problems in your material. Later again about mechanisms when I do, that also you can do very easily. So to next lecture we will deal with mechanisms.